community. Last night there was a Paul McCartney concert, and it's interesting, 11,000 people coming together. There was people jammed in there, but people were very polite to one another. There was no pushing and shoving. There was, for whatever the reason, whether they all had tickets already, that's good. But I think that's an example, and it was a very diverse crowd, and having that number of different people together, kind of gives us an idea what all of our activities and all of our parts of our community can look like. And a lot of people in one place, all focused on one positive thing. So I hope we can continue that in our ongoing thoughts. So with that, a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Alderman Tompkins, would you lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. Brian, would you please call the roll?
Dickman.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Kluhl.
Present.
Mattson.
Here.
And Dunn.
Here.
10 present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Brian. And again, as I wish you a good evening, and as we begin this meeting of our City Council, I want to welcome you all of those in attendance and those who are viewing the meeting by way of our internet broadcasts. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions, and please keep in mind that as you talk to the Council, you're also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region. We are happy that you are participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for all of our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance, and those watching through the internet, I thank you for joining us. At this time, we would ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic handheld devices, as they can interfere with the audio system and be disruptive here in the chambers. If you wish to address the City Council on a specific item, if there is a discussion agenda, you are encouraged to do so during that discussion item. You will have an opportunity to address the City Council under Public with Business portion of the meeting, which will occur towards the end. When addressing the City Council, I ask that you step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself, and speak to the Council as a body and not to any single member. We will ask that you limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes, and I ask that everyone observe, and I know you all will, the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So thank you again for being here today. Will an alderman move approval of the City Council meeting minutes for May 22nd? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Is there a city administrator update this evening?
Just one quick moment to recognize and to celebrate that the river is now below major flood stages. We're now in moderate at 17.9 and working our way down. So as of this afternoon, we're officially out of major flood stage.
Thank you for that news. That is good news. Next item, will an alderman move approval of the report of the Committee of the Whole for June 5th, 2019? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. That report is approved. We have no appointees this evening or proclamations. There's no presentations. Is there any petitions or communications from any of the members of the council or myself? And Alderman McGinnis, if you would please do your community engagement report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, the Quad City Juneteenth Festival will be Saturday, June 15th, 11 a to 4 p. at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds. Special musical guests will be Jazzy Ash and the Leapin' Lizards at 1 o'clock. All kinds of fun all day long, so please join. It's being sponsored by River Music Experience and the Quad City Arts. And also, a group we're reaching out to help. Individuals and businesses are invited to participate in Dress for Success's Stay Afloat Community Clothing Drive. This is a group that helps women entering the workforce. They lost their downtown location and much of their stock during recent flood events, and they're relocating. So they need to rebuild their stock. So individuals can donate business-appropriate clothing between June 17th and June 28th. At participating drop-off points, and that will be announced very soon on their website. And then businesses can participate by serving as drop-off or collection points. For information, visit quadcities.dressforsuccess.org. The Davenport Public Library has a great offering this summer. We're all going to have to miss it because it's on Wednesday nights, but it's at the main branch, and it is a summer book arts academy, calligraphy by Calligraphy with Paul. This is from the Art League, Art Legacy League. It's various Wednesday nights in the summer, starting at 4:30 at the downtown branch. It's a hands-on workshop offering folks an opportunity to learn more about book arts and how to create them. They'll cover different types of book arts, spanning binding techniques to lettering arts. It is suitable for adults and teens, so you can visit the library's website, www.davenportlibrary.com, and click on Schedule of Events. And finally, last but not least, Party in the Park. We've talked about this before. It kicks off tomorrow at 5:30 at Cork Hill Park at 10th and Farnham. There's free food and fun. There's live entertainment. There's a chance to visit the historic Antoine Leclerc House and also to learn about the history of the neighborhood and much more. We hope you can join us for our very first ever Party in the Park tomorrow night. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman McGinnis. Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple things. First, I was happy to be at the 40th anniversary of the Quad City Vet Center, which is over actually in East Moline, but it's been around since 1985. So they focus on, especially now, sexual trauma in the military and veterans who experience that, and people that are struggling when in their transition from military to civilian life. So they've been there since '85 and doing great work, and they're actually a outreach for the VA. So they're a center with full-time people, and every week they have a lawyer that will come help veterans with legal assistance for free of charge. Second, thanks to Parks and Chad Dyson for considering to giving some breaks to kids at the pools. That's very much appreciated. And then third, to put on your calendar in July, the 19th and 20th of July at St. Ambrose University, there's a Veterans Action Weekend. And what this is, sponsored by the Quad City Veterans Council and a lot of organizations here in the Quad Cities, where veterans can go and actually have stuff done. They'll have VA people to actually have the computers there, and they can file claims and appeals, etc., and help them with disabilities right on site instead of being handed stuff or given appointments or tell them to go somewhere else. They'll actually have stuff there. That's why it's called an action weekend, to do the stuff for them. So please pass the word. 19 and 20 July, which is a Friday and Saturday, 9 to 3 at the Rogowski Center at St. Ambrose, a Veterans Action Weekend. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Mattson. Alderman Rawson.
Thank you, Your Honor. East Bluff Neighborhood Association asked me to, again, remind everyone to follow up what Alderwoman McGinnis just said. We have the Party in the Park this Thursday at 5:30. A lot of the East Bluff board members will be in attendance, and we will be they will also be passing out flyers for our neighborhood cleanup, which will happen Saturday, 2 days later. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but we're a crazy group of people. So if you want to hang out for just 2 hours and help pick up the east side of Davenport, we'd love to have you. And we'll have beverages available, and we're serving some food shortly thereafter at Cork Hill Park. So Cork Hill Park will get a lot of use this week, and that's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Rawson. There are no items on our discussion agenda this evening. I just want to note that all of the items that you saw last week and see this week on the agenda were discussed in detail last week. Therefore, they were put on a consent agenda. Some were tabled and others were put on the consent agenda. So with that, is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda? It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Condon,
Yes.
Rawson,
Yes.
Dickman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Grip,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Kluhl,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
and Ambrose. 10 yeses, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Are there any other ordinances, resolutions, or motions this evening? Seeing none, is there anyone public with business tonight? And again, we ask that you come up, identify yourself, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. And thank you for joining us.
Councilman, Your Honor, there was an issue brought up at the last meeting, and it was tabled. And so I wanted to come in and give you an update on some of the things that have happened since then and provide a little additional information. And this is for the REZ 1906, the rezoning request by Shaney 3 from C1 to C2, the GD Express at 4607 North Pine Street. So I recognize that this is not on the agenda this week. However, the neighbors have several relevant issues which we'd like to update the council and the mayor since last week's committee of the whole meeting. I formally present this information in person and as part of the formal record for the city council's consideration for REZ 1906. I also use this information to reiterate the neighbors' many requests for the City Council not to approve the rezoning of the GD Express property from C1 to C2, fully consistent with the recommendation of the Davenport Planning and Economic Development Department and their quality staff work, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimous decision against the rezoning, and the neighbors' consistent and unanimous and passionate support for no rezoning. Everyone in the planning department, as well as the neighbors, have expressed a concern with setting a precedent that this one, by going from C1 to C2, would set a precedent for other locations within that area to also go to C2. So we publicly thank Maria Dickman and Mike Mattson for voting no on the tabling request. We also request the City Council hold a vote on this rezoning request at the next City Council meeting, and that at least 3 of you vote against the rezoning, because we're tired of going to these meetings, and we want the issue to be put to bed with a denial vote, at least for the year, before the owner can ask again. So first of all, as requested by the City Council at last week's COTW meeting, when all but 2 of you voted to table a vote on this issue, you requested that we get together with the owner and have a meeting. So we have dutifully organized a meeting, this time with the owner of GD Express, Jasvir Shaney, and 3 council members will be present. We can't have more because of the open meeting law. The neighbors have already attended 5 meetings, and I've attended 2 more, so that makes 7. We feel that it's starting to get excessive. We want this thing to be taken care of. We will continue to do what is needed to get the City Council to vote down this rezoning request, consistent with city planning, the P&Z, and those affected by your decisions. I'm going to give this to you when you're done, but we've attended 5 meetings already, the city-sponsored on-site neighborhood meeting, where the cops were called on us for for appearing to be a disturbance. The neighbors are very hypersensitive in this area. The meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission, where we had a lot of folks available. Another neighborhood meeting attended by over 35 neighbors, as well as Councilmember Dickman, the COW meeting, COTW, and now this one. And we're having this other neighborhood meeting requested that we have by the City Council. So that's an update there. We are having the meeting. It is Friday at 6 o'clock in our neighborhood. 2, at the last meeting, I had been requesting who is in charge of enforcing the carry-out liquor at 5.10 in the city code. And we were told at the last meeting that there was a department called the Neighborhood Services Department. And I called the director of that department, so I'm updating you on where that stands. I called the director, and he said that the night after the COTW meeting, there was a big meeting that where it was decided that this was the organization that was going to be enforcing 5.10. Up to that point, there was nobody in the city who was enforcing 5.10. And nobody knew about this organization either. So they are now going to be enforcing it, apparently. But unfortunately, that decision was made only after provided citizen evidence of potential long-term violations at the GD Express. So I'm really glad the city is working on that. Thank you very much. The third one, and this happened quickly at the last meeting, it led to the tabling. I allege that Mr. Robert Montaigne, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm going to say Montaigne, misrepresented his ownership of the GD Express when he requested that the rezoning request be tabled at the last meeting. His name is not on any of the biennial reports from the Secretary of State. As a matter of fact, who is consistently for RAM 2, Shaney 2, and Shaney 3 LLCs is Jasvir Shaney. So he is the owner. It is not Robert Montaigne, like he asserted to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Shaney represented himself.
Excuse me, are
as
you
the
about
owner.
ready to wrap it up? This is
Oh, okay.
Time, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
I just want to point out then, if you could turn that back on, please. Okay, so he represented himself, and Mr. Shaney did admit to being the owner on television, Channel 4, the next day. So, regardless of who's the owner, I do allege that Mr. Montagna or his relative has a probable future financial interest in the outcome of the city council vote from C1 to C2 of the GD Express. Yesterday, when I had a good talk with Councilman Tompkins, she asked, I mentioned that there were many lots that were owned by a Montagna up there, and she asked what they were, so I did some homework for you. And so I went to the assessor's records. He has a very large block of contiguous properties on North Pine Street, a little north of the area, and I took this from the zoning map.
Do you have, is all this information, do you have it documented for us?
Yes, and I will be sending it to you
It
electronically.
might be helpful to pass it to our clerk. Again, we want to be
Oh, yes.
consistent
Yes.
with the 5-minute time
Yes,
limit
I'm
on
sorry,
this
I didn't realize I'd gone
presentation.
that far, but he owns a large block of properties.
And if you could share that with us, then we
Yes.
can read through that
Yes,
as well.
I will.
Because you will have a chance as well when we resurface this in 2 weeks.
Yes. Okay, so I think if you set the precedent for C2 zoning with a GD Express, it's going to be very difficult for you to vote against it when another one comes up before you, which is highly probable, and it'll be in your ward.
Thank you very
in
much
this,
for your
there's pictures.
consistency and the good
Thank
information.
you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak at this time?
Good evening. My name is Dale Gilmore, and I live in the 6th Ward. I'd like to invite you all out to a live band Friday night. Now, the mayor mentioned Paul McCartney. He was in a group called the Beatles. Yeah, I'm sure most of you remember that. This band plays everything from Elvis to the Beatles, and they are out of Chicago. They're not some neighborhood garage band. They're really, really, really good. They're going to be at Jumer's. It's part of Jumer's. It's part of the Heartland Nova reunion, the Nova Car Show. Some of you may remember those two. It's going to be Friday night, 7 p.m. It's on their back patio. It's free. Bring a lawn chair. Jumer's puts out a lot of chairs, but they'll go pretty quickly. Adult beverages will be served, I'm sure. I'll be there. So come on over, say hi. The name of the band is called the Neverly Brothers. Now, no, not the Everly Brothers. That was Don and Phil Everly. This is the Neverly Brothers, and they are. I've seen and heard a lot of live bands in my day, and I've never seen anybody play guitar like Kevin can play guitar. So it's, come on over. They are not just great musicians, they're entertainers. They give you a little bit of background about all the songs they play. I don't know how many of you know how the Big Bopper got his name, but they go through all that. It's a great time. So hope to see a lot of you there. It's free, 7 p.m., back patio, Jumer's, Friday night, the 14th. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Dan Montagna, and I own the property that she's talking about. And I don't know how I get dragged into things, but
Excuse me?
I don't know how I got dragged into this. I don't know her. I did write a letter for the GD Express because I know the gentleman. I've seen his other properties, and he's got nice stuff. He's doing a good job. What I'm doing in my place is nobody's business. I run my business there, and I do nice stuff there too. So I just want to know why anything's on to me. I don't have anything to do with anything. So, and
Thank you. This is, again, a listening session. We'll make sure there's going to be, it'll be brought up in 2 weeks, and we can discuss it in more detail and maybe clarify some of that information that you brought up.
as far as my future plans, it has nothing to do with these young people.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, there are other reports of city officials at this? Oh. So close. Yep. Yes, sir.
My name is Bob Montagna.
Say again, please.
My name is Bob Montagna. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I stood up for GD Express as a representative, and I said that all they wanted to do was table it. I did not say anything other than that. I want that to be on public record also, because it was told that I said other things, and I did not. By Miss Lee. It's on the text messages, emails, I'm sorry, by the emails that she's been publicly saying around. sending around.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.